Good morning. What's happening, family? Welcome to the show this morning. It is Michelle Bryant here at WNOV 860 AM, 106.5 FM. You are listening to Say Something Real. I see folks checking in already on my cell. Good morning, Adeline. Hey, sis, how you doing? What up, Shell? What's up, Shelby? How you doing this morning? Hey, Alex. What's up, Dion? Good morning to the crew. Let me say what's happening to the bros in the studio. Uh, mm. Hey, Jermaine, how you doing this morning?
See, I'm special. I
Got
pull
that
up.
right.
I pull up with my silly miss. You understand me? No, I'm doing good. Shall respectfully.
Good, good.
Is that an elephant?
Respectfully, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's dope.
I had it on yesterday.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah,
I didn't see it until I looked and saw all them diamonds sparking up and
I
caught
had
my
it on
eye.
yesterday.
Elephants
Know.
are supposed to be very, very lucky.
Well, deltas collect elephants, so
Well, the last person I dated was in love with elephants, so
Oh boy.
I'm
here
like,
we go.
kill that elephant.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Well, no, but
Must
you
the
know,
animal suffer because your
yeah,
relationship?
take the tussle.
was
Michelle, it
bad?
always reverts back to something he dated.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey, man.
bro,
I'm just smooth like that, brother.
you really don't seem smooth though.
Call me Billy.
Yeah, you
Call
seem to
me
have a
Billy
lot of
D.
problems.
You
You
be
ain't smooth.
You having a whole bunch
Hey,
of crying.
that's
Crying
because
going on.
that's because
They dogging
that
me,
when you're
man.
smooth
They
like a
dogging me.
C capping you and stuff.
so you know what?
I'm having problems.
See, I'm gonna tell you something.
What?
Shell,
Yes.
respectfully,
Oh boy.
it's so good to
This,
see
you
you.
know, this in your DNA now, right?
Yeah, it is.
Respectfully.
Oh,
Yeah,
JTC,
yeah.
thank you for putting that in my
Yeah,
spirit.
it's in the it's
Yeah.
on you now. You
Vocabulary.
won't
Yeah,
you
it's
won't
done.
get. It's like when you say, "I felt that thing."
Oh yeah, that thing be bubbling.
Respectfully is now in your
Yeah, it is.
You'll be singing
lexicon.
at church.
It's your-
Respectfully.
Respectfully, Lord.
how you doing this morning, Mr. DeVoe?
I'm over the top. I'm just over the
Oh,
top.
over the top.
So I'm gonna start
Yeah.
calling him S Starter.
Who?
S Starter.
Well, C cap me first. See how that come out.
Oh, it's gonna pop up. The biggest S Starter.
No, man. I'm great this morning. Glad to be here. Another day above ground, or as the funeral director would say, I'm still riding up front.
Okay.
The day that I'm riding in the back is pretty much over.
Well, look, speaking of that, a number of people reached out to me yesterday after the show. Folks were so taken aback by the news
Mhm.
of the passing of Dr. Gerald Jones, owner of Courier Communications, Milwaukee Courier newspaper, this radio station, WNOV, that they were asking Michelle, what's the memorial plans? How do we celebrate, this man's life and his contributions? And I'm just asking the community to have a degree of patience. The family is still trying to figure out what they plan to do to honor his life. As I mentioned yesterday, there's going to be a special July edition of the Milwaukee Courier, in which it will be a tribute opportunity for people to put into words and have that shared with the public. Sentiment, stories, comments about Gerald Jones, but in terms of a actual ceremony, an event that we can attend, the family is still working through those things. So I'm just going to ask for patience. It's a lot to deal with, and as soon as they know, they will let us know, and we will share it with the public, so that, because the number of people who had a Gerald Jones story yesterday was
Mhm.
crazy. It was
Mhm.
absolutely crazy. And people, so I'm listening, but I couldn't even make myself call. So I just wanted to make sure I said that this morning, just because of the number of calls I received. When the family um, has made the decision about how they plan to celebrate his life for any type of public engagement, we will let you all know as soon as we can. And I just want to say this real quickly, if I can. This Sunday is Father's Day, June 15th. This Sunday is Father's Day. Now, I know some of y'all going to be like, dang, for real? Already? You know, for those of us that um, are fortunate enough to have relationships with our dads. Our dads were in the homes, or men that have stepped up in our lives and been father figures to us. Let's make sure we take the time to celebrate these brothers for real.
Oh, they're gonna start something new.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm putting it out here.
Traditionally,
Because we get tired of hearing
really,
y'all whine. Don't nobody do nothing about
they
it.
don't.
They don't really care about us.
They don't run no
Restaurants be
Father's
empty.
Day specials at
I
the
mean,
restaurant.
Bro,
Nothing.
listen,
Mother's Day.
See,
Mother's Day, you got to make reservations. You can't
here
get in the
we
joint.
go.
2 days before,
This is
man.
why I'm mentioning it.
Father's
I
Day.
got it.
Where you
But you
want
know
to sit?
what? But I'm gonna just be clear. Y'all really do it to yourself. And I'm gonna give you an example. I was
Uh-oh.
talking to my brother yesterday. So my brother and his son, he got a younger son. He has 3 children. He has a set of twins. They old. And then he got a younger son that's only like, I think Bryant might be 12,
Mhm.
13. And Bryant is acting like a 12, 13-year-old. Hey, take the trash out. Yeah, he dragging. Hey, take the dog for a walk. He dragging. So his daddy said he had a moment where it looked like Bryant was about to bristle up.
Uh-oh.
And he had to like tap his shoulder. Hey,
Yeah.
hey, bro.
Yeah.
You really don't want to do that.
Yeah,
I need you to understand. You really don't want to make this move. And so, Brandon like looked at him and listened, but he walked away still looking like, I'll dust you up, old man. He still had that look on his face.
Chest
And
puff,
so, yeah. And every dude does it. It's a
Oh,
rite
yeah.
of passage.
Oh,
You
yeah.
go through
Yeah.
it. So my brother said he was leaving for work the other day. And when he was walking out the door, Brand said, hey, Dad. And my brother said, he turned around. He said, I love you, Dad. And my brother, went on. And so he was telling me the story yesterday. I was like, you soft. I was like, oh my God. I said, so that mean he got by, for Father's Day? He was like, I'm good. My son said he loved me. I'm good. I said, see, y'all set yourself up for not getting nothing. Because I would have said, I'm glad you love me, son. That means my gift on Sunday gonna be off the charts. Just like that means I'm getting more than some socks for Father's Day. I would have added, but y'all bros is so soft. All somebody gotta do is tell y'all they love y'all, and my kids is eating, and the house is good, and then y'all cry when y'all don't get that for Father's Day.
Debo,
you set yourself up.
Respectfully, let me
You
get this
set
one, Debo.
yourself up.
Let me get
So,
this.
Go
bruh,
ahead, get that.
stop being
Let me get this.
all, as long as the kids got a roof and everybody fed and clothed. And then privately, you go sit down and be like, they ain't buy me nothing
Well,
for
Shell,
Father's Day. Y'all do it to yourself.
respectfully,
Closed mouth don't get fed.
we go 364 days.
Closed mouth don't get fed.
I get it, but we go
Women let you know, I better have some good on Mother's Day.
So
I know it better be some plans for Mother's Day. We tell y'all,
listen,
and then we don't get disappointed.
we
But I
don't.
do have a question.
What?
My wife is not my mother,
And
so why do I need to honor her on Mother's Day? Shouldn't I honor my
Listen,
mother?
she-
because
the
she's the
mother
mother
of
of your
kids.
children. And if
Then
she's-
that's their role to make sure that she
No,
get
it's
on
not. What is wrong with you?
Oh, wait a minute.
No, it
Now
don't.
they-
Wait a minute.
If we go get our Johnny Cash on and walk the line, we gonna walk the line.
First of all,
Hold on, Debo, say that again, brother.
don't act like he
That's
said
their
something
mother.
prolific.
I mean, just like they do in church. Read.
Let me say this.
They
Yes.
mother, yes.
Let me say this.
Debo's on to something.
No, he ain't on the nothing. And I want to be clear. He's on to nothing.
Debo's on to
Yeah.
something.
Y'all be double dipping all year long. You took Sweetest Day from us.
Uh-huh.
See,
all kinds
here
of
we
stuff
go.
Took
that y'all
Sweetest
all
Day,
year
y'all get
long.
Valentine's
Hell,
Day.
you even hear women say, "I'm the mama and the father too."
Yeah.
They want to be recognized on Father's Day.
Well,
So out of 365 days, we get a half of one. So it's really 364.5 days that we
Wait
get
a minute.
ignored.
We better check that math.
Ain't it 365 days in a year?
I think it was right.
hey, I'm tired of y'all playing victims. I'm really tired of it. I don't like quoting Keith. Never.
I'm just
Never.
I'm just saying.
And I don't
man.
think that this is right all the time.
I
But
think
in this moment,
Debo
no
onto something.
victims, just volunteers.
Hey,
Y'all wanted to
Terrible.
be somebody daddy.
I
And maybe
rarely-
you didn't, but you didn't do what you were supposed to.
I rarely
So,
agree with this
You
fool
put
over here.
yourself in this position.
But
Michelle,
If you don't tell nobody you want
On
something
Father's
for Father's Day,
where'd you like to sit? Sure, right here.
I mean, listen, they don't even ask you where you like to sit. They just be like, go on and sit.
Y'all
There'd be
see-
so much
Ain't even got no
room.
waitresses
y'all
on
see
staff
how,
that
y'all
day.
see how this went
There'd
off
be
the
so
rails?
much room in there.
You see how they act?
Like it's
You're
I
echoing
bring it
that.
up.
it's
Our,
so.
our
so
cooker's
that-
on break.
They are considered this
like,
year,
Can I have a piece of chicken?
and that people go out their way. I bring it up to say, y'all do right by these brothers,
Thank you.
and they turn it into a whole, you know what session.
On the couch
I'm just
moment.
saying that we
Just
gotta have
cry
our
We
moment,
on the
man.
couch.
time.
We
It's
sorry, we got on the
365
couch.
days.
Right.
Can we get a day?
I'm trying to get you one. You won't be quiet. I'm trying to help you.
I'm just saying.
See, this why we
Just
can't
saying.
advance as a people, because
God.
y'all don't even listen.
But
No.
Michelle, I mean, seriously, in all sincerity,
And
what
dude
I have
said,
done
"She
down
ain't
through
my
the
mama.
years.
Why should I get her something?"
But no, what I do is like
Whoa.
if I have
He ain't got no point. Shut up.
children that are
Wait,
not
I
grown,
mean, say shut up.
that
No, I
don't work,
Wait,
and,
wait,
and
no,
don't
that's
have
just for the kids that's listening.
Oh,
and don't have the ability
Stop
or
talking.
the wherewithal, if you will, to give their mom
Wait,
a
I'm
gift.
not listening to you.
I
What you
give-
say?
I'm saying so. Like my minor children,
Your
I always would
minor
make sure
minors,
that
what does that mean? The kids under
Oh, the-
18?
yeah,
the younger ones,
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I would always make sure that they had the ability to hear, go get your mama something. You know, I wanted them to have something from her, but it's not my direct responsibility to give her something. I want it to be from her children.
No, I don't agree with that at all. Because if I appreciate the work that my wife or my partner has done to help me raise these children, and in a lot of ways, you know, it's a lot of women doing way more the heavy lifting than bros,
Mhm.
you know, for a variety of reasons, whether it's work or, you know, patriarchal nonsense or, you know,
So then
just
where's the reciprocation, if you will, on
workload
Father's
ain't
Day?
balanced in raising these kids. But just like my son's mother, she ain't my mama.
Your son's mother.
I mean, my grandson's mother. Well, yeah, me too. But my grandson's mother.
Was that a test you tried to see if we were listening?
She's not my mother,
Right.
but I appreciate what she's doing with my grandchild.
Mhm.
And I know that my grandchild has a better life because she in particular is his mother.
Mhm.
And because I value that, I ain't sent it to her yet, but she got a Mother's Day gift from me.
Mhm.
Just like my son will get a Father's Day gift. Now, everybody don't have to do that part. But if I'm married to somebody, for sure, I'm looking at my partner and saying, I appreciate you being in this journey with me. And in addition to whatever our children do for you, here is something from me. And it don't have to be no grand gesture. You know, just, hey, babe, I got breakfast this morning. You know, I picked up you some flowers. I did something extra that you wanted done around the house. But I'm doing something to let you know, because it's a whole bunch of people that have had to do this thing by themselves.
Right.
Right.
Folks
That is true.
ain't showing up.
That's true.
You know,
But how come but see, you're saying that, Michelle, and it sounds great. It's
you
on
know
point.
what?
No,
Because it
you-
is great.
Yeah,
Somebody sounds great.
you're on point. But then why is it then when Father's Day rolls around, she doesn't have that same responsibility?
Exactly.
I'm telling you right now, that's what I'm trying to do for y'all. If y'all stop whining.
I'm just saying, I'm tired of y'all getting steak and all that other stuff on y'all
What
day
part
and our day that
about
we get
that's
pork and beans
what
and wieners.
I'm trying to do right now.
Well, talk
If
to the
you
women
stop whining.
then. Talk to them then.
I can't
I'm
because
fed
y'all
up. I'm tired of eating pork and beans and
You know
wieners on
what?
our day. I want steak too.
You know what?
Oh,
I'm
this
done. I don't care
see,
what
they get
give
so
you,
deep
Negroes.
over here in the
They ain't
chat.
got to give y'all nothing.
Babs to my,
Damn
there's
these
only
damn
one person
daddies.
who risks death to bring children into this world.
Me.
And they
Me.
get deep over here in the chat.
Hey, well,
Wait,
well,
I
you
gotta
tell
go.
that person
Let me go to the
they
chat.
wouldn't even
Hold
have
on.
they wouldn't even have the
There's
pressure of
only
bringing a
one
child if
person
it
who
wasn't for
risks
me.
dying to bring children into this world.
Hey, but if it would, hey, Debo, though, you tell them, you respond with your fingers and tell them if it wasn't for us, they wouldn't bring a child.
Oh,
I
you
ain't,
know
I
what?
ain't
No,
typing.
it
I
ain't
ain't doing all that.
like that. Don't get cussed out. It's too early.
I'm sorry, happiness.
It's too
wait,
early in
wait,
the
who's
morning.
that happiness donut?
Let me.
Who
let
said
me,
that, Debo?
let me go to the Facebook.
That was
page.
from Babs.
Babs, I'm sorry.
I'm
Love,
just
I'm
saying,
sorry.
man. Y'all need to stop. You need
But I want steak too on our day. I'm tired of pork and beans and wieners.
You know
I'm
what?
tired of
Again, all that's personal. All that's personal. You ought to pick better.
I mean, no, 'cause it's crazy.
As I
It's
tell
so
you all the
bad.
time, pick better.
It's so bad out there that we end up having Father's Day picnics for ourselves,
Right.
cookouts for ourselves because women don't do
I
nothing.
At
for us.
cannot
Sherman.
believe
At
the
Sherman,
amount of,
we throwing our own party.
I hate
Come
I brought it
celebrate
up.
with me.
I hate I brought it up.
I don't hate that you brought it up. I was wondering how we were gonna get it in there.
All it is.
I'm glad you brought attention to this.
Yeah.
Is it time for a commercial break
No,
yet?
not
No,
yet.
not yet.
We got a little bit more.
Oh my God! Is this what y'all do when y'all get together?
Oh, yeah.
Sit
Oh,
up
yeah.
and just.
Oh, you should have saw it when you weren't here. It was all men. We was going at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad, man. Oh, okay.
So you got a call though.
Yeah,
You might want to answer the phone.
let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Been fighting this with this
Hello.
for decades.
Pardon me?
I'm sorry. Hello.
I think a child should get up if he don't have money, draw his parents a picture, even if it's on an envelope with a pencil. Write something down, and to me, I got stuff like that for my kids, and that means more than anything. You know, let them cook you a breakfast with eggshells in it and all that. Because, like they said, that's not. And I've been fighting this battle, and I gave up, but I still fight it every year. You ain't my mother. If I honor you on this day, you keep trying to tell me everything what to do. So we ain't gonna do this today.
Right. That part.
Now, let me just say this. I've been saying this for years. Bill Gates is worth $1 billion. He gave his wife a vase for Christmas, Mother's Day, or birthday. Try to give certain ladies that, and one of a couple things gonna happen. She's gonna ask you, "Is that for your? Who is that? That's for your mama?" You're gonna get hit across the head. You better hope urgent care is open, or she's gonna be mad at you for about a week.
Not
Just certain women.
I was gonna say that's not indicative of most sisters. That's why I tell you, brothers, pick better, because there are women that appreciate.
I wouldn't care who you
gesture.
pick. That's just because
you
they
can
hear
pick
from
me.
their mothers,
No,
their
you can pick
grandmothers.
me,
Y'all
and if
just
you gave me a
believe y'all
vase,
should be.
I wouldn't be mad.
But it need to be crystal.
See,
There you go. Hey, now let me ask you something. Let me move away. Yesterday you had a real serious show with Mr. Jones. My condolences. What's the name? What's his name? You understand. I can't. What's his little name?
Who,
You always
Meech?
fighting.
Meech?
Yes.
Yeah.
He made a comment the other day about the girl missing from Pizza Shuttle, and I vaguely remember that. If you get a chance, can you elaborate on that?
Okay, that there was a second young woman who worked at Pizza Shuttle that had been also identified as somebody missing. Yep, I'll look for it.
Okay, yeah, and then, because me personally, with that little goofball Anderson, I don't believe he did that by himself, and I don't believe that was his first go around.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Man,
so thanks a lot, but let's keep this thing going, and let me put my helmet on because I don't want to get hit in the head with
It's coming, Doc. Duck, goose, duck.
No, I have a Father's Day thing every year. My girls is working feverishly to make sure it's a success.
Wonderful.
They know what that means to me. Thanks a lot, y'all.
All right,
and who puts that thing together? You sponsor that yourself?
Yes.
See that? See,
yes.
See.
Well, no, I don't. No, I don't. We do it. It's a family thing.
Yeah.
It's a family thing, and my brothers and their wives, my nephews, nieces, friends.
Nice.
So it's gonna be big. I got to get off of here. I got to get going because every day I got something planned up until Sunday.
Hey, I like that.
That's awesome.
Well, look, thank you for the call.
Man,
I'm gonna
me
talk
too,
about
man.
you real
Talk
bad
about
as soon
like
as you
that.
hang up. But thank you for the call.
Man, I wish I had that.
See.
Oh,
See.
Michelle,
Yeah.
I ran across something that reminded me of how loving and how giving you are.
Oh, here we go.
No,
What?
seriously. Look what I found. I had misplaced it. All the way from Greece.
I shouldn't have been buying it.
Well, I appreciate it.
Supporting
As you see, I still get
your bad habits. I shouldn't have been buying it.
all the way from Greece.
Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hello, how you doing, Michelle?
I'm good. How you doing this morning, bro?
We need your help, brother. Help us out.
It was mentioned that it's only like 365 days a year.
Yeah.
That's not true. It's only 7.
It's only 7 days.
Hey, man, what school did you go to, brother?
You got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If that was 365 days a year, what's the name of the 8th and 9th and 10th day? there's no extra days, so there's only 7 days. What happens is the week repeats itself. It's only 2 years, 52
Oh,
days.
he being technical now. That's the technical.
Say, man. Say, man. Listen, man. Go outside and count every piece of grass that's in your yard, and come back and tell me how many pieces of grass is in your yard.
You can't count it because you can't. There's no limit to the number of grass that you count. So there's only 7 days. What happens? The week repeats itself.
So did we not learn that in like kindergarten?
Yeah.
Because then I need you to say it properly, because it's still the same thing. You can just say calendar days.
Yeah, it's the same difference.
Yeah, you got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Are you kidding?
Dude, you got to be playing with me on this morning. You got to be playing with me on this morning. Either that or I really didn't graduate from high school. Well, I guess I really didn't graduate.
Bright Eyes said, too deep for his own good.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess I really didn't graduate because I could have swore I graduated with a 3.5.
Thank you for the food for thought, bro.
Yeah.
I appreciate
I thought you were going to
that ain't
thank you
food
for the
for thought.
foolishness.
No, I wasn't going to say that. I'm not
That's
gonna
more
say
like
that.
baloney for thought.
I think he gave y'all something to think about.
Yeah. I'm even more confused
Stop
now.
it, caller. 365.
I'm even more confused now.
Jermaine, that's not new.
I'm
Let me go to the next caller. Hey, caller, what's happening?
My
I'm even more.
Now I'm confused.
Hey, what's happening?
Big confused. What's going on, bro?
You got it, Melly Mel. Hey, rest in peace to Mr. Jones. He's a great guy. He was a great guy back in the day. He was just a great guy, and he helped a lot of people.
Yes,
hey, you know what I think? I think when it comes to Father's Day and different things, I think black men, I can't speak for white people, but black men, we always worked and got our own stuff. Everybody got man caves and got our own stuff. But little stuff mean a lot. Like you said, little stuff.
Yeah.
Because we work every day. We can go get whatever we want, but little stuff means a lot.
Yeah.
That word, when that one person said he just told his dad, I love you, even though still get me something if you can, but that did mean a lot, though.
Oh, for sure.
Little
for sure.
stuff.
And look.
Because sometimes you just don't realize that, damn, just give your dad a hug or, you know what I'm saying? Or,
real talk.
Damn, wash his car. Can you do that? That's beautiful right there.
Real talk, bro.
Y'all don't mess with my car.
I was just Did you put some dog on my car?
Wrong towel.
Yeah.
You use the wrong towel.
Man, you got to rinse that off, man. You can't let that soap sit on there like that.
But look, the other thing, and the reason why I bring this stuff up is because I also believe that in requiring your children while they're still minors to do stuff for you, you are teaching them to be thoughtful. You are teaching them to be appreciative. Excuse me, you are teaching them to think of other people. Being caring and giving is not necessarily something that is innate. It has to be modeled and taught and encouraged, and people have to be reminded to do those things. So that's why when a child is standing next to us, or our child is with us, and somebody gives them a piece of candy or somebody gives them $1, parents always turn around and say, "What you say?" And the kids go, "Thank you." If you begin to teach young people how to appreciate and value and respect their parents and the people that pour into them, then when you older in life, those kids will be there hopefully to help take care of you, look out for you, and also do the same and be responsible, adults and parents to their own children. We have to teach people to be decent to one another. We have to teach people to think about one another. We have to teach people to be willing to share and go out of your way for somebody else. That's not innate. You're not born nice. If you're in the right environment, cool. If you're in the wrong environment, you learn wrong stuff. So it's not just about being selfish and saying, hey, acknowledge me. You also giving your children skills that they will need to have successful, meaningful relationships down the road. Let the church say amen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to break. Collection
Amen.
play to be passed when we get back.
Yeah.
Now, back to Say Something Real with your host, Michelle Bryant on WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. Made the mistake before we went to the break of just saying
of acknowledging men is what
y'all look out. Y'all look out for the men in your life. Do something better. Turn into a whole thing. Because we got special bros in the studio. And folks have been calling the way in. We got another caller held through the break. Let's get them in, see what they talking about. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, good morning.
Well, there you go. What's happening, bro? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right. You know, I was really doing all right until my man that calls in so intelligent and always want to get at me. And the day he come in with the 365 days. But that's okay. Hold on. It's okay. It's okay. He wants to punish me every time you get a chance to throw shots at me. That's okay. Because I once tried for years to find the letter after Z. I took it to the deans, everybody. I was trying to find this letter after Z because I knew if I could find an alphabet after Z, I would go down in history as a legacy. Plus, we'd be rich forever, right? And I kind of gave up on it because everything I took to these English majors, it just wasn't going to hit it. So I understand what he's trying to do, but I tried to find a letter after Z. So check this here out, though. Women's Day. Yeah. Did you say something, big brother?
No, I was saying I was trying to find a pot at the end of the rainbow, but I still ain't found
it. Right. But trying to find a letter after Z it can be done. If you, people been working on it for centuries, you know. So I tried my hand at it for a little while, and I said, nah. I just give up on it. But anyway, when it comes down to women, the whole DEI thing, women play a great role in that, and we got to put them back in the place for us.
Wait, what? You know what, Beach? Don't call me here talking. See?
Come on, they get a whole month. Hold on. They get a whole month of history, and then they turn right back around and they implement it.
But wait, so think about this. If women get a whole month of history, and there are 12 months in a year, who has the other 11 months?
Hold on, y'all get that.
Men.
2015, y'all implemented. Hold on. You implemented Black History Month. Would you listen? You implemented Black History Month and Women's Black History Month.
There are no black men?
But what month is Black Men's Month? Because there's Black Women's Month.
So let's be clear. All of these,
ain't got no black men.
All of these affinity months, because that's what they are, affinity groups, affinity months. Women's History Month, Black History Month. I don't know.
No, you got black.
Hang on.
You got Black.
All of these were created because all of the history had been white male history. Men dominated history. And so people began to say, we know that other people have contributed, and because it's not being taught or focused on or included, we need to do it ourselves.
But where is Black Men's Month?
So every month,
get one, brother.
You do get one because you are.
Even if somebody came
Are you not a black man? So we don't highlight black men. In fact, you typically highlight more black men accomplishments.
You've been beating us up since you sat at that table.
You highlight more black men during Black History Month most often than you even do women.
Come now.
There is no come now, because historically, women were not even allowed to play certain roles. So when we start rattling,
to justify,
all you got to do is pick up any book.
Listen, you trying to justify women have flexing their muscles.
Any book that highlights Black history.
Put on our necks and we want it off.
You will see usually more men featured than women.
Did you hear what I said?
No, because I'm not listening.
You got your foot on our necks and we want it all.
You know what? Boy, shut up. Bitch, get off my damn. You just like attention, man. Oh my God. Did your parents not give you enough attention when you was growing up? You just so silly. You got your foot on our necks and we want it off. It's just silly, man. Let me move on. Got time for this nonsense. All right, y'all. Look. Without doubt, we are seeing in this country what many people warned about in the months leading up to the November 2024 presidential election. People were saying things, and I know I said it too. I got a t-shirt on that references it. Democracy was on the line in relationship to the November presidential election. T-shirt says, for those that are not looking on Facebook, my t-shirt says Democracy Defender. I think it's one of the union t-shirts or something, but I loved it when I saw it. I forgot who put the shirt out. But people were saying that democracy itself is on the line if Donald Trump is returned to the White House. And when the election is lost, and now more and more people believe that there was cheating going on, that there was some type of ballot manipulation, count manipulation. I played the clip from the brother, and I'm going to be doing that research to pull down those numbers. When you say that Kamala Harris didn't get a single vote in a full Democratic ward, but that the Democratic senators got elected, Democratic members of Congress got elected, and all those Democrats looked at Kamala Harris and said, no, we're not voting for her. So I'm going to go back so I can have reviewed that data myself. But after we lose the election, you have all these folks saying, see, that message didn't resonate. You needed to be talking about kitchen table issues. You needed to be helping people understand, what you're going to do about the cost of eggs and the cost of gas. And people needed to be able to hear about, they 401ks. And, so Democrats, you're out of touch. You're not listening to what's important to the people. I want to be clear. On some level, it was what's important to white people. On some level, it was what's important to white men. Because more and more political pundits, news anchors, we're looking at the Democratic Party going, you need to basically get away from your support of issues that are inclusive, that promote inclusivity and equity. You need to stop messing with black folks and start focusing on white men so y'all can win this country back. That's basically the undercurrents to what folks were saying. You're too highfalutin talking about this whole idea of democracy. But this country was built on the idea of democracy. If you understand history, how we even come to having a United States of America, in great part, it was about freedoms and democracy. And while not perfect, while, we've seen a lot of upheaval and people mistreated and, all of the historical institutional stuff we know that went on, democracy is why this country is different than any other country in the world. And why so many people wanted to be here. For folks that are watching what's going on in California, and Republicans that are getting on TV to try to defend what Donald Trump is doing in terms of the clear power overreach in Cali, I need people to understand and appreciate that protest is how this country got started. Protest is at the very fabric of what we do. And there was an example I want to give, and I'm going to go back in history for a minute, and I'm going to bring it forward, I promise. But there are so many people right now that are watching what's happening, and they are so concerned, and people feel powerless. He got control of the military. He literally went to a military base yesterday and had military soldiers booing a former president of the United States. He had politicized his speech in a way that the folks in the military forgot. You are here to serve the interests of this nation, not of this man. And we already know it's a whole bunch of racist good old boys in the military. We know it's a bunch of racist good old boys in law enforcement. We know some of them was helping to give people plans and information about how to attack the Capitol in January of 2020. We know that this exists. We know it exists. But people have worked to at least have the appearance that there is no politicization. I'm trying to get it out. That word always trips me up. But that, the military is independent in terms of politics. If it's a Democratic president, a Republican president, independent president, if we ever see that day, I serve the nation. But protests have been a way of individuals who did not have the military at their beck and call, who may not have a ton of money at their disposal, who may not be attorneys and lawyers and who can go and fight their cases in the Supreme Court or have the means and funds to hire lawyers to go and fight cases for them. Protest has been the vehicle of the people to be heard when they had no other way to convince people to treat them fairly. So there's been this story that has been circulating around on the internet. Many of you may have seen it, but it stood out for me because, again, to the people who think we're powerless right now, and what you gonna do? You just got to try to get through these next 3.5 years. What you gonna do? Let me take you back, if I could, to about 20 years after enslaved Black people in this country were free. Okay? So let me get you to around the year and the summer of 1881. After slavery ended, most Black women, probably 99% of Black women, worked as domestics. So they were either housekeepers, nannies, wash women, still sharecropping, working out in the fields, because you're 20 years out of slavery. So education and all that stuff that you could do to position you not to do such backbreaking manual labor still really hadn't happened in full effect on a grand scale. So down in Georgia, in Atlanta specifically, when they took a survey, 98% of Black women in Georgia, in Atlanta, in 1881 were what was known, in terms of being domestics, there were a group of them known as washerwomen. Okay. And they would go to people's homes, get their laundry, take it back to their homes, wash their clothes over the course of the week, and return that laundry to these families. Now, don't think about laundry in today's terms, okay? So we ain't putting it in no wash machine. We not putting it in the dryer. First of all, you had to have something to wash it in. Many women would be cutting barrels in half and lining them so that they could wash in those if they didn't have tubs. We 20 years out of slavery, okay? Then you had to haul water to put in these makeshift tubs. And then think about the fabric and the clothes back in the day and this heavy cotton and this sturdy material, not like this mess we buy today. And you had to wash this, then rinse it, go get more water. You bent over all day. Then you ironing and starching. You hanging out to dry. So it was very tedious, back-breaking work. Even poor whites figured out a way to pay a washerwoman because the work was so hard. So this group of women found that when they were interacting with these white families to do their laundry, that the white families was telling them, because most of these women only made $4 to $8 per month. $4 to $8 per month. But they were washing pounds and pounds and pounds of laundry for the respective families that they work for. So this group of Black women, it started with 6 and expanded to 20. They said, yeah, that's enough of that. We gonna set the price that we charge for our labor. And they decided that they would charge $1 per 12 pounds of laundry that they would take in from a family. I don't know about you, but I still can't imagine washing 12 pounds of laundry by hand and ironing it, starching it. So I'll go pick it up. I do all of the stuff I described, and then I bring it back to your house on Saturday. Pick it up on Monday, bring it back on Saturday. So they say, hey, we got to set our own rate. We will never, make it with this. So they start talking to other women. They go door to door. They're canvassing, words we use today when we talk about helping people run for office. They knock on doors. They talk to other Black women that are laundresses and say, hey, y'all, we can't let these people keep taking advantage of us like this. They found that 2% of all the women doing laundry for hire in Atlanta at the time were white women. Everybody else was Black. They even got the white women to join them in demanding this $1 per 12 pounds of laundry. White folks revolted. How dare you Negroes think you're going to tell us what we going to pay you? And they got the mayor in Atlanta to come forward and say, if you do this, we will fine, if you participate in this group, because then the women said, well, then we going on strike. Y'all don't want to pay us? We ain't doing your damn laundry. So then the mayor in the area says, we will fine you $25 if you participate in the strike. Women said, so do it. They also started arresting women, Black women, because they refused. Now you are no longer in slavery. I am an independent contractor, self-employed. I'm making a decision to enter into an agreement with you to do your laundry. And because Black women said, I'm not doing your laundry, white people work with local law enforcement and elected officials to have Black women arrested for not agreeing to do their laundry at the price white people wanted to pay them. Are y'all listening to me? One woman sat in jail for 40 days. And she said, I'll sit here every day after. I'm not doing it. So these women were being threatened. They were being fined. They, had landlords evict them or raise their rent to try to force them. Like, okay, you got to be able to make that rent payment. And you're going to have to go do this laundry, even though you don't want to do it, so you can make that rent payment. So they had a coordinated effort amongst these white folks in the city of Atlanta to force these black washerwomen and these, 2% of white women to adhere to what they wanted. And black women said, you can do whatever you want to. We ain't budging. At some point, all this laundry's piling up. All of these folks realize these people are not afraid. They willing to go to jail. They don't care about these fines. They got a woman right now that everybody is applauding because she has sat in jail for 40 days. For 40 days. And so they had to give in. They had to meet the demands of these black laundresses. They won. They got exactly what they were asking for. Because mind you, they washing the people's clothes. They making their own soap out of lye and starch and wheat bran, using beer barrels. They got to put all of this into this to run this business. And you going to tell me what my price should be. How many of you right now listening to my voice have been in business? You don't tell, and even if you got to buy somebody's services, you don't tell the plumber what you're going to pay him or her for coming to your house to do some work. You don't tell Jermaine, I'm only going to pay you, $40 to come and perform at my event and bring your keyboard and your group. Jermaine gives you his price. I woke him up, y'all.
That's right. You preach it to the choir.
So they won. At the end of the day, and they ended up giving themselves a name, the Washing Society. They were a trade organization. They won. They won. The strike not only raised wages, it established that these laundresses were instrumental in the New South's economy. The white establishment was forced to acknowledge that these black women workers who were formerly enslaved were not invisible. The only resource they had was their bodies, because that was the manual labor. And they had autonomy and control of their bodies. You use what you have to fight back, to protect yourself and your community and your city and your state and your resources. And that's, as I go to break, that's the first thing I need to say this morning about this fight for democracy. Jamal Bryant, the strike at Target, Reverend Sharpton, whatever his stuff is going to look like in terms of striking, people that were out there in the streets when George Floyd died, the marches we've seen here in Milwaukee, the marches we're seeing around the country, people are willing to put their bodies out on the streets to fight against somebody who has control of the Marines and the, Army, and can sequester and take control of the National Guard in the state against its own people. But y'all, we have options about how to push back and fight back against this dude and the people around him that's doing everything they can to take away democracy from certain people, because they're not taking democracy from everybody. The folks in Cali are not being treated like the folks who tore up the Capitol on January 6th. Remember the Washing Society when you think you don't have a way to fight back. I'll go to break. I'll be right back.
Now, back to Say Something Real with your host, Michelle Bryant on WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. So I got a couple of callers on the line. One was a brief conversation I was expecting to have around 8 this morning. Let me take this first caller just to get them taken care of, and then we'll move to my anticipated guest. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello? Okay, we missed him. All right. So then let me go to my guest. Hey, Hazel, good morning. How you doing this morning?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
That's good.
You reached out on yesterday, sent me a text message saying, hey, Michelle, we got something going on over at Brentwood Church, and I need you to let your folks know. And I said, why don't you let them know? So first of all, how are you doing? And I typically talk to you around the holidays. Brentwood has been one of the churches that has stepped in always to help fill in the gap in terms of food insecurity, with food giveaways. And you guys have something coming up real soon, right?
Right, absolutely. Michelle, our upcoming community food giveaway is an annual during the month of June that we give back and try to supply a little extra food for families. Kids are out of school and, they eat up a lot. So we try to add a little extra to families to help them through. And, we are in a situation with food insecurity. And it is our mission at Brentwood is to meet the needs of the people in the community and provide nutritional food. So on this Friday, June 13th, from 2 p.m. until the supplies last, we are giving away food to the community. And you don't have to be stressing or worrying if you got to have an ID or whatever. We're not asking that. We're just asking you to come and help us to bless you and with a little bit of extra food for your family during this time. The location of Brentwood Church of Christ is at 6425 North 60th Street. And again, that'll be Friday the 13th from 2 p.m. while supplies last.
So let me just ask this question, because so many people are feeling the squeeze right now in terms of, having enough money to cover rising prices. We've seen some prices go up, some come down. People are worried about tariffs and how that impacts, the items that we buy and purchase every day. Have you all noticed any uptick in people making requests or having needs around food or shelter or clothing over at the church?
Yes. I mean, Michelle, we service food, individuals and families food almost every week. And little household items because people be moving, or clothing, during the winter, maybe coats, and then now it's coming into the summer, maybe summer items. So we have noticed, we have been doing this for years. And in the last couple of years, each event that we have, because we have a few community events, throughout the year, they have increased. And as you mentioned about the one in November is when we do our turkey and food giveaway at that time. And it has increased, tremendously each year. So we're seeing that, and we're hearing from the community, and we all, we live in the community too. So we know, it's hard. Things are a little tight right now. Prices are increased, and, the demand for food and the need for nutritional food is really has increased. And that's why our mission, our goal is to try to make a little difference by giving food and clothing or whatever we can do, for the physical as well as the spiritual, to help our community so that we can have that healthy community and we be thriving and living productively as we should.
So I haven't been to Brentwood in a while.
Okay.
And so let me just remind the community, who's the pastor over at Brentwood?
William Smith is our pastor.
Oh, so I don't know Pastor Smith. I really haven't.
Yes, you do.
Do I?
We prefer, his nickname is Smitty.
Oh, okay. Look, okay. I'm getting formal names. I'm like, who is that?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
And for folks that are interested, possibly in even coming to worship or
Yes.
visiting the church, what are your service hours over at Brentwood?
Oh, thank you. Awesome. Our service hours are 9 a.m. Sunday morning, in-person worship, and 9 to, and then we're going to Bible study. We did to about 11. And then we have 2 Bible study nights that are by Zoom, and that's on Wednesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. And we are live on Facebook and YouTube. I'm sorry, Facebook and yes, YouTube. And so our services are streamed. But yes, please come visit us. We would love to have it, the community, because we are part of the community. And being a part of the community, we have things hit us the same as it does for others, but we trust and know that God will provide, and that's what we're here to do, is to help in those situations and to serve our community. So definitely, please feel free to come out and enjoy worship with us. And Michelle, I hope to see you soon.
Look, yeah, now that I'll have Esther Williamson breathing down my neck about being at church, I have become a heathen. So I certainly will get over to visit. I got a couple of churches I got to get to. But Hazel, the work that you all continuously do, it is appreciated. You all, have been consistent. You reach out to us and say, hey, and you don't ask to do anything other than say, get this information out. I was the one that said, can I get you on the air so they can hear from you, personally. So I appreciate the work. It fits into what I'm talking about this morning. We may not have everything, but we do have the ability to do something that we can help ourselves. So thank you for that. And remind people one more time the date and time of the food giveaway.
Okay, great. Our annual community food giveaway is this Friday, June 13th, from 2 p.m. until supplies last. And it will be located at Brentwood Church of Christ. It is a drive-through, so you don't have to get out your vehicle. We got volunteers that'll get the items to your car. And the location is 6425 North 60th Street. Just a little north of Mill Road. Can't miss us. Come out. If you know someone that needs, please share the information with them. Michelle, I appreciate you always, the work that you do and the voice that you have in our community. And I thank you for allowing me to be on your show today to share a little bit about what's upcoming to your listeners.
No problem. Anytime. Thank you so much, Hazel. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon, Michelle. Thank you.
All right. So look, family, this is an example. When I talked about the Washington Society, folks using what they had to help themselves, there are folks that, we figure it out, and we will figure out how to deal with what's happening in this country right now. While folks were saying that the whole conversation about democracy was too lofty and you needed to do bread and butter, kitchen table issues. If I don't have the ability to move about freely in this country, if I don't have the ability to speak freely in this country, I'm back to some form of servitude. I'm back to some form of freaking slavery. And some folks will say, Michelle, you're doing too much. That's a far leap. But the very thing that this country was built on, when they walk away and sail across the seas to say, we looking for something different. We don't want to be under a dictatorship. We're not interested in a monarchy. We're not interested in serving a king. But the king getting ready to throw himself a parade, a $40 million parade, in the next coming days to celebrate the military. But really, it's to celebrate him turning 79. And his warped vision about what leadership looks like. For folks that are watching the unrest in LA, and you have seen that it is spreading, or that other cities are stepping in to hold protests in support of LA, and because they understand in their respective cities what has been happening around the country in relationship to ICE enforcement, the immigration, officers who are coming in with their faces covered. In some cases, real roughshod, handling people real crazy. Not all, but way too many. And we now are showing up. See ICE agents showing up at graduations, showing up at churches, showing up at schools. People, are in fear, and some innocent people are getting caught up in this. And folks are beginning to say, what can we do? Now, if we are paying attention to what's happening in LA, New York, Chicago, DC, even here in Milwaukee, we have had ICE protests. People are trying to figure out what the playbook should be. Because when you look at Donald Trump going in and federalizing the National Guard in California with no coordination with the governor, no request from the governor, no engagement of the governor, you got local law enforcement stepping on the toes of the National Guard, and then you got the Marines sitting on the peripheral of the city in that area waiting to be deployed in. And you're talking about upwards to 2,000, different elements of military divisions being brought to bear all on the city of LA. When this man claims it's about, I'm here to save LA. But when the fires were happening, you didn't want to save LA. LA needed to save themselves. So I need to be real clear. I know you know this, but for anybody around you who questions it, none of this has anything to do with saving LA. This is about harming LA. This is about harming a democratically leaning state, a Democratic governor. This is all political. This is about removing democracy from one set or group of people. It's not even about immigration. It's not. This man, being Donald Trump, is out to pay people back, to throw his weight around, to bully folks into submission. Did anybody see what Elon Musk put out yesterday? Let me pull it up, because I want to make sure. I don't want to paraphrase. I want to say it exactly the way Elon Musk said it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Here we go. Elon Musk put out a post on fake Twitter in which he said, and I quote, and it has a little blue check mark to authenticate his, no, I'm sorry, authenticate. I can't even get the word out. His, that is him. He posted this on June 11th at 2:04 a.m. I regret some of my posts about President at Real Donald Trump last week. They went too far. I'm sorry. You look like you want to say something.
Yeah, I wasn't even gonna chime in, but it seems like it's a
it's a democracy. Feel free.
Okay. It's a whole bunch of juggling going on. Donald Trump responded and made his threats. And when you have somebody that can pretty much mess with your money, because when you start talking about messing with, and when you're dealing with people that love money, if I'm talking about messing with your money, it's going to be an issue. So to just keep everything cool, I'm going to keep a cool booty, and I'm going to repent to you and say I'm sorry just so you don't mess with my money. And he's pretty much putting people in position to treat him like a god. Well, if you don't do this for me.
So you think about the richest man in the world, or one of them. People have challenged if he is or isn't. But let's just say, certainly in the top 5, top 10, is not even free to say what he wants to say for fear of retaliation, retribution, loss of contracts. Just think, so democracy, even for somebody as wealthy as Elon Musk to say, your big, beautiful bill is disgusting. Even his voice has been threatened, silenced, minimized, and he now publicly, with his lips pressed to Donald Trump's behind, my bad. I said too much. I got out of line.
See, when you're operating from the position of money, power, and now you're demanding respect, it's just like what he said yesterday for his parade. If any protesters come, they're going to be met with great force. Great force like what? So you're going to have the army tanks run them over? You're going to have the people shoot at them? What great force are you talking about?
Because of the parade.
And people protesting that they don't like you. They're not protesting the parade. They protesting you. They don't like you. So you saying to people, well, if any protesters come, they're going to be met with great force.
People are doing their best to figure out how to fight back. The number of arrests in LA have increased every day since this started this past Friday. Nearly 200 people were arrested yesterday. Folks are beginning to wonder if the arrest will intimidate people that violate the curfew and get people to fall back. Will the military presence intimidate people? I was watching a reporter cover the story, and she ended up being shot
with a rubber bullet.
And the thing that was crazy, it was nobody. Yeah, he aimed at this woman. There was nobody standing by this woman.
He aimed at her purposely. Yeah.
She was away from the fray, and she's standing there reporting. You can tell she's a reporter, and you see her reach down and grab her leg. She gets shot.
But if you watch the video, you can look from the corner for where the shots came from because you see the smoke from the gun. You see him like this.
Aiming.
Yeah. And pow.
And you think about that. Her back is to you.
So she's not a threat.
She has a microphone in her hand.
And the
press vest on. And you shoot at her anyway. And then we listened as CNN reporters were told by folks in the National Guard or, whichever military branch that was, don't come over here because you'll be arrested. And they were like, we're the press. Don't come over here or you'll be arrested. But we're the press. So we are not here to cause problems.
So this is a whole measuring contest. It's a whole measuring contest. And it's about power and respect.
But it's a measuring contest between who?
Well,
him and the rest of the country?
Trump and especially.
It's him and the rest of the country.
Yeah.
Because Republicans have, and go ahead and infer and read into what Jermaine is saying. It's a penis measuring contest because Republicans have demonstrated they not going to say nothing.
Exactly.
They scared. They're going to go along to get along so they can get reelected. They can protect their seats. And then they're going to try to wait this dude out. Some of them actually now, more Republicans are in office that are in line with Trump's ignorance than previously were. The Paul Ryans, I'm not going to say fully middle of the road, but the more rational Republicans, a lot of them are gone now. And all the crazies have been elected, including ours, Ron Johnson, and I know there will be people that will be like, see, Michelle, I told you, and I don't care. I'm going to stand on what I said. Getting rid of one form of ignorance for another form of don't do nothing, I still get nothing.
It's the same results.
I get nothing. Yeah. So LA, as the governor puts in, a request to have an emergency order to stop Donald Trump while they sort through this whole thing, has been denied.
And that's crazy all by itself, because why would the judge deny him asking them to stop the military from coming?
So they do have a hearing tomorrow. We'll talk about it on the other side of the break. But other states need to be paying attention, because Texas has now said that they will be deploying their National Guard to squash protests that are happening around the state of Texas. Josh Call, is a democratically leaning AG. The governor, Democratic. Josh Call is a Democrat. The governor is a Democrat. So in Wisconsin, folks will say we don't necessarily have this problem, but we all need to be paying attention to how the court is getting ready to rule and what Cali is asking them to do. We'll talk about it on the other side. But y'all, this is the conversation that people told Democrats they were wrong to have. Democracy is at jeopardy. I'll be right back.
Now, back to Say Something Real with your host, Michelle Bryant on WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. So taking a couple of minutes, and it's so much to get to, but there were a number of people that hit me up and questioned why would the judge in this case, who actually happens to be the brother of U.S. Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer, why would the judge in this case not, accept and rule in favor of the motion filed, the emergency motion filed by Governor Newsom to be able to stop Trump from deploying these Marines and the national, taking over the National Guard in California. So let me just quickly say this. The judge, while making the decision not to grant the emergency request, did schedule a hearing right away. So the hearing is going to happen tomorrow, so that both sides can come in and, argue about why he should not grant this restraining order. Newsom is going to come in and argue that the U.S. Constitution and Title 10 authority says that the governor has to give consent and needs to be consulted when the federalization occurs of the state's National Guard. Trump is going to say that, he had to prevent unrest in LA, and basically his power trumps anything that the state wants to do. There are three things in particular that they said needs to be happening. Basically, an invasion from another country, or the unrest is so bad that the states can't handle it themselves. So some insurrection type drama. Again, you don't do a damn thing on January 6th, but you want to run down to California and get involved in that. So the court will hear these arguments from both sides on Thursday. And then once the judge makes a decision on this motion, it's going to impact, how this whole thing, plays out. If the motion is denied, the lawsuit will continue to proceed through the legal process. So folks are saying, well, what if, as we said, fewer people come out because they're afraid of being arrested? Does the whole thing go away? Trump can pull the troops out, and everybody is like, no, that case is going to still proceed, and it still needs to proceed because he can do it again. If we see protests here in Milwaukee or somewhere in the state of Wisconsin, Trump could come in and federalize Wisconsin State National Guard members and use them in this capacity. Governors, Democratic governors from around the country have been checking in on Newsom and talking to him strategically about his plan. I'm hoping that Governor Evers has been a part of those conversations. But when we're turning on our TV and shaking our head about what's happening in LA, everybody around this country that is to some degree astute about these issues understands this easily could come to Wisconsin. And people are treading lightly because they are worried that Trump will turn his scorn, his ire, his BS, and start messing with our state, messing with our city, messing with our governor, our, National Guard. People, so, remember, they threatened to come in and arrest Tony Evers because of some direction that he gave about how to respond to some of these ICE requests here in the state of Wisconsin. And Tony Evers had to come out and be basically like, I ain't scared of you, man. But the reality is nobody wants to go to jail. The representative that was involved in that dust up in New Jersey with the ICE officials, she's been indicted. Here's a sitting member of Congress who has been indicted about getting into it with ICE. But you come in roughshod, handling people crazy, and you don't think nobody gonna get upset, push you back, fight you back, try to resist you. Let me go to the phone line real quick and then loop all of this back in together. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, listen, I had to call in one more time. I'm sorry.
You all right?
But I had to. Listen, first of all, earlier you were talking about the women that only had themselves to work. You know, they only had themselves, and you're right about that. But then I want to ask the question, and you don't have to answer it now. If that's all they had, you made it clear. All they had was themselves. Why is it a problem if a woman want to sell herself? You know, we got advocates now that are out pushing.
Oh my God!
Hold on, you just said they only had
Did you
their body.
really just inflict prostitution into this conversation?
Hold on once. We're not going from the street point. We're going from the legal point. SWOP. Hold on. SWOP is a program that is out fighting for those women to actually do that. But however, let me just jump to the Donald Trump thing.
How do you invoke sex workers?
Because I was in line earlier, but you had a guest, and I didn't think it was appropriate.
It ain't appropriate now.
Well, you can handle it now, but I didn't want to show out in front of company.
It's something wrong with you, boy. You crazy.
I didn't want to show out in front of company.
You showing out now. It don't matter. Company, later.
Okay, will you accept my apology then?
No,
you don't have an answer for it.
I know. It's not that I don't have an answer. I'm not going to answer. I'm not going to entertain it.
But the organization that you're talking about, those ladies, is supported today by SWOP. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying.
God.
When you were talking about those ladies only had themselves, there's a program, SWOP, that's been doing it now for quite a few years. God. But anyway, check this out.
Oh my God.
Why are we fighting the administration for what's going on in California? If these people get their way in California and shut us down, they will start all over the country.
First of all, California was not in threat of being shut down. If Donald Trump was not sending ICE into these areas and acting all reckless, you're not going after the violent gang members. You're messing with everyday working people.
Those people were violent that was out there throwing them rocks.
Stop. Again, you're messing with everyday people who have been working in this country and ain't bothering nobody. That's what he doing.
Listen,
and you send them in a way, you manhandling these people and disrespecting them in the way and affording no due process.
If Davy Crockett would see what's going on here, then he was killed in the Alamo, he would turn over in his grave. And we talked a few weeks ago about how Mexicans had us in slavery and how they abolished slavery in about 1836. And we were having that discussion. Well, they only did that because of the Alamo. You know, we were pushing back in Texas. So they released in 1837 or 30, whatever it is, they released their slaves actually to help them fight in that situation because they didn't know how far America was going to take this thing. So listen, I'm not with them folks. If you keep your eye on the federal auctions, and we got them in Wisconsin, you'll probably find yourself some taco trucks, some bobcats, some good, great tools that have been purchased by people that shouldn't be in this country. Keep your eye on the federal auctions.
Show up every day. Like
keep your eye on federal auctions all across the country. There'll be some. Hey, get your taco truck.
Okay. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. I really don't. I just said that. You know, bro, I don't know what to do with you, man. You're gonna always figure out a way to bring the streets to the table. We talking about Black women 20 years out of slavery who were taking a stand for themselves, their self-value, their worth. And you talk about sex workers. And just the fact that we're going to use that in the vein when we talking about Black women. Like just raggedy, inappropriate, grimy. Like, bro, I wish I knew. I wish I knew what made you tick so I could pay for you to get it fixed. But you thought that was a connection. And I'd bring that up. Yes, Michelle. You know, we got sex workers out here that need to have their, you know, that's what they were fighting the same fight. It ain't the same damn thing. It's not the same thing. These women weren't fighting for a particular occupation. They were fighting for fair practices in their ability to negotiate contracts for their work. I don't even know what to do with you. Let me go to to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning,
So first
Dr.
of all,
Myers.
I just want to say that I wish people would stop. Meech needs to stop. First of all, I don't know what her name is, but whoever she was, she hurt you. And she hurt you real bad. Because the way you like to make hop, skips, jumps, and conclusions makes absolutely no sense. I will say it again. Brother, you need to go to a couch, go see somebody, because you clearly have an issue with women. If you want to make the leap that you just made, bringing sex workers into this whole conversation that Michelle made about people actually standing up and defending themselves and doing all this other stuff. Anyway, I also wanted to say, Michelle, when you talk about the fact that politicization and, administrations utilizing or an overreach of their power, it has happened before and it can happen again. We're looking at it. This is not new. Back to your original comments you made this morning talking about protests being a part of America's fabric. That is very true. The fact that we even have a country was because it was built on skirmishes and protests. The Boston Tea Party was a protest. The fact that, what's the brother's name? Crispus Attucks died in the American Revolution. First brother in there. This is because they had snowballs packed with rocks and lobster claws out there clowning the British military. So if we can't protest and tear up a police car, okay, they got insurance to fix it. What is the problem? Let these people show their emotions because that's what this country was built on. Now, when you don't like it, it becomes a problem. That's the same thing that happened during the summer of 2020 when the George Floyd protest was going on and people got rubber bullets shot at them, and Donald Trump want to clear, the streets in D.C. and go hold the Bible upside down and all of that. This is the same situation over again. Now he's taking it city by city, cities that he does not like. Don't think Milwaukee wouldn't be on the list.
We would, because we were considered a sanctuary city. We have a Democratic governor in Wisconsin. He still got, whatever issues and situations from back when the child was down there killing people in Kenosha. Yeah, all of that. So don't think he won't. Rittenhouse. He would dredge all this back up again, and you start pitting cities against each other, and now you want to just sit back and hide your hands. He thinks this is like a cartoon or a game. Let's just do this and then see what happens. So, just ridiculous. No.
But I really hope you get some help, bro.
Thank you so much, Doc. I appreciate it. And and I just want to say this, and my colleague Keith Paris has joined me in the studio.
All he wanted to do was organize.
But this is the thing.
You talk about a group of workers who should be organized. What's the problem with that?
I would say this. When you talk about labor history in certain states where it's legal, yes, they are organized, or in industries that have
Vegas, right, in Nevada?
That do that.
Don't they have a union in Nevada?
They do have a union in Nevada. However, the other part of but that's not what she was talking about.
Again.
It take Keith
to come. Hang on, Dr. Myers, because I'm about to cuss Keith out. Again. We not.
Yeah, did Rahab have a union? Right. You want to go to the Bible to talk about it. Did Rahab have a union?
Rights too.
Yeah. And how did they treat her? Even though she was the great-great-grandmother of Jesus.
We not.
She hit him, didn't she?
What we not gonna do is bring sex workers into the conversation about these women coming out of slavery. That's what we not gonna do. Dr. Myers, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
But Keith is terrible, boy. Keith terrible.
He flew his almost cussed again.
He flew to the studio.
You know he flew in here just so he could get in on this foolishness.
Setting up for workers' rights.
Right.
Problem.
You know what?
I'm on the side of the people.
He probably broke speeding laws getting here. He's like, let me get here before she get off the air. And I got tired. He always up for foolishness. Thank you, Dr. Myers. I appreciate your call. I'm not with you.
That's hilarious.
But if anybody does not appreciate that there were protests against Britain and the British and what it took for America to be formed, throwing that little tea party, the tea away, and the stuff that people typically, the Boston Tea Party. Understand. People fought for independence and for freedom and for autonomy to some, extent. So The other thing, though, and I like what folks are doing, is, and Lakeisha brought it up in her comments, that Donald Trump also likes this chaos, will create chaos to keep people distracted.
Say it again.
From other stuff that he's really trying to do.
That's the real thing. Yeah.
Let me get this caller. I'll finish that out. Keith can chime in. But hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, how you doing this morning?
Did you do your woosah and you now ring the cure after that food?
No, I didn't do it yet. I'm gonna do it.
Okay, so you just breathe and relax because we want you to be helpful. I hope that he has time today to change the water in the fish tank shoes and set the clock back on that silly looking hat that he wears. Since he called me a clown a few days ago, that was a very clown statement, brother.
Can y'all stop y'all
beef? Drink in the morning.
Beefing over the radio.
Yeah, I think he's drinking in the morning, and we will continue to pray for him.
Okay,
but
we gonna pray for him and his huggy bitch.
Yeah, we will pray for our brother. And a very smart person said it sounds like he's espousing this pretentious love that Black MAGA and MAGA has for America, all while flying the flag of the only country who became an adversary to attack America. Those Confederate flags that we see when we drive up north or anytime that we go down south. And those are the people, and they talk about everybody else hating America, but no one has ever hated America enough to attack America except for those who carry that Confederate flag. Am I right or wrong?
That is true.
And so the fantasy world that our brother lives in, where he might not be mistaken as a Haitian and snatched off the street by somebody in a mask, or that there may be copycats who go around, and there will be some, pretending to be ICE and kidnapping people. He's living in a fantasy world. And so I have come to the belief that before he calls your show, he takes a few shots of some cheap liquor, and that's the only way that a grown man will speak as he speaks. And again, I apologize to his family, that they have a person who's willing to his biological family. They have a person who's willing to lie, and I would never speak ill of his family, but I just feel sorry for them. And his MAGA family, they can go to where.
All right, thank you, bro. Appreciate the call. All right. And y'all saw the Mexicans had on MAGA shirts. But when you looked at what it said, Mexicans ain't going anywhere.
Oh, wow.
So they co-opted the MAGA because they were like, there are people out here with MAGA shirts on. And then when they
Isn't it ironic, though, one of the little monikers they put on Trump was Taco?
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, Taco. Yeah.
Let me get to Beach's comment about David Crockett. That's part of the problem if you talk to Chicano people.
Yeah.
Davy Crockett.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
tell people what you mean, though, because
David Crockett at the Alamo, that whole myth about the Alamo and what happened. Ultimately, Texas did end up winning. Okay. But yeah, Davy Crockett died at the Alamo. Now, I don't know how that got into this, but I don't think that many Chicanos, people of Mexican descent, have a high regard for Davy Crockett.
I mean, but also, I want y'all to be able to say what y'all got to say before I get out of here.
So, question: do we?
I got time on my program.
Do we? So how, like they said, David Crockett. They used to say their name a lot, so that's where it comes from now.
No, David Crockett was what was he? A congressman. He was an Indian fighter.
Okay,
and he died at the Alamo.
Because I remember the story of David Crockett, but I don't.
Oh, he had a TV show.
Yeah, that's what I. Okay. So
which is not surprising, seeing it was a Disney show, and everybody knows how arch conservative Walt Disney was. But yeah, David Crockett.
David Crockett, yeah.
And they also did Daniel Boone. As a matter of fact, kids used to have those cool
David
Crockett.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, you're used to.
Let me go to the phone line. Oh, who knew it's gonna be this kind of work today? I'm working for this.
Every now and then you gotta earn your check.
Dude, I'm telling you. Oh my God. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, the caller that made that statement about Mexico needs to learn about history. First of all, Mexico had the first black president in North America. His name was Vicente Guerrero. He was elected in 1829. He was the son of a slave. He fought with the Mexicans against Spain, and he was elected president in 1829. He was the first black president in North America. Look him up. You will see for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, bruh. And yes, Vicente Guerrero, mixed heritage, African, indigenous or Native American, or just indigenous and Spanish descent. And parents, he did, one of his parents was enslaved. And like I said, that's the narrative. When people try to hide history, don't want you to understand history. As I said, we get a ton of Mexicans in this country because they fight world wars and all these men are gone and you need men to come in and do the labor. So it's okay when we need to use you. But then now we want to villainize everybody when we had to call on this country for help and assistance. But you got this brother spewing all this poison all the time about folks that's just trying to have a better life for themselves. No different than anybody else that comes to this country. But they the scapegoat. All right, y'all, my show is wrapping. We will talk about what it is that Trump wants us to look away from. There are folks that are chomping at the bit to talk about RFK. Tax bill. I heard the Congresswoman on yesterday, Tammy Baldwin meeting with folks here in town, talking about the impact here. So we will get to those things over the course of the next couple of days, or for me, one more day. But just understand this. All of this is design chaos. It is. And that's my show for today. Thank you, bros. I appreciate you. Sex workers.
Wow. Organized.
I'm going to the union about mine.
So you go feed into that?
No work on Fridays. I need paid vacation. I need
here anyway.
We ain't talking about me.
I need paid vacation.
Don't be coming in on the conversation late.
I know what it was.
I was listening.
I heard it. I knew about the sex work.
Bye.
I'm cutting this mic off.
Bye.